welcome everyone. Very glad to have with us tonight Pastor Richard L. Bush of the Mount Zion First Baptist Church at 1789 Hawthorne Avenue, who will come forward. And we also have Boy Scout Troop 61 that is here. And I think they have selected Nigel as he's a senior patrol. He's going to come up after we do the invocation and lead us in the pledge to the flag. So would everyone please rise?
Just for correction, if I may, Mayor, our church is Mount Zion Baptist. For future references, can you eliminate the first for me, if you may?
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't.
No. It's not you. Thank you. I appreciate that. First of all, good evening, Mayor Baker, to those of city officials and thereof. Let us bow our heads in prayer if we may. Most holy and gracious God, our Father, that who have been so kind to us. God, we say thank you. We thank you for our last night laying down and our early rising this morning. God, we thank you for allowing us to see 2019. Father, someone didn't make it, but we come saying thank you today. God, I ask you to bless, to allow everything in this room, God, to go forth, that you be glorified, the people be glorified, and the devil be horrified. We ask all these blessings in the precious, prominent, prodigious name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank God.
Amen. And if Nigel will come forward, is Nigel here? Ask that
would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
while everybody can have a seat, but while y'all are up there, I don't know exactly why all the scouts are here. They're either being punished or they're trying to get a badge. But if the scoutmaster wants to come up just real quickly and recognize all the guys, or if you just want to they've been at the last 2 or 3 meetings, so.
It's all right. It's only a 3-hour meeting, guys, so you'll be in bed before sunrise. No problem.
Well, thank you very much. I'm Randy Thomason. I'm Scoutmaster for Troop 61. We're at Bethany United Methodist Church in Smyrna. Mm-hmm. We're here tonight. Most of the boys are working on the Citizenship and the Community Merit Badge, and one of the requirements is to attend a meeting of the city council or state or local government, and that's why we're here, and we're going to learn about how government works, because as you know, it's very important to be involved with your government.
I hope this works out good tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for
inviting us. Thank y'all for coming. Item 2 is agenda changes, and we don't have any. Under the mayoral report, this is always a favorite month that we have. I'm going to let Marilyn Blackburn read a proclamation recognition of Black History Month, and then after that we're going to have a performance by the Spiritual Heirs. I think they're in the back, I hope they're here. Yep, they are. So I'll ask Ms. Blackburn to read the recognition proclamation for Black History Month.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to ask if Mr. Hurst, if you are here, would you please come forward? Mr. Hurst? No? Mr. Hurst, he's not here? Okay. Well, we shall move forward. A proclamation by the Mayor of the City of Smyrna in recognition of Black History Month. Whereas each year during Black History Month, the City of Smyrna explores the history and culture of African Americans, discovering stories of triumph of the human spirit. And whereas the 2019 theme for Black History Month is Black Migrations, emphasizing the movement of people of African descent to new destinations and subsequently to new social realities. And whereas, beginning in the early decades of the 20th century, African American migration patterns included relocation from southern farms to southern and northern cities in pursuit of education, cultural enrichment, and economic advancement. And whereas the community of talents gathering in cities helped spark movements such as the Harlem Renaissance in the 1920s, when arts and writers like Langston Hughes, Zora Neale Hurston, Jacob Lawrence, and Duke Ellington gained recognition and fame, And whereas, starting in the 1960s, a great reverse migration began with African Americans returning to southern states, especially Georgia, to reunite with family, seek economic opportunities, and positively contribute to a changing social environment of the state. And whereas, by the late 20th century, Georgia enjoyed the largest net gain in African American residents of the state and the largest economic growth among African American populations in the country. And whereas Cobb County exemplified the growing diversity of Georgia with top leadership positions held by African Americans, such as Lee Ryant as general manager of the county's largest industrial employer, Lockheed Martin, David Hankerson, Georgia's first African American county manager, and our very own city administrator of the city of Smyrna, Tammy Sadler Jones. And whereas the lives of these and other African Americans and the journeys of their achievement, struggle, and empowerment have inspired others in our community to succeed, now, therefore, I, A. Max Bacon, Mayor of the City of Smyrna, Georgia, do hereby proclaim the month of February 2019 to be Black History Month. And I'm going to ask if Pastor Waller, who is would you please come forward? I'm going to make this presentation to you.
Let Scott get a picture, y'all.
One, two, three.
Thank you very much. Item B is the performance by the spiritual heirs in honor of Black History Month. If y'all will come forward, and we got brand new microphones if y'all need them. Everybody has asked me. There was usually the three of the regulars that I always hear, and there was some little small young man. I don't know. He's got to be an older man, or not older, but he's not a little kid anymore. Is he still around? I hope it's not him coming up here in the back. Y'all come on up. Do y'all remember who we're talking about? The little young? Yep. I think you're live, I think. Y'all may not even need those.
All of the scripture that'll be every year. It's great for us to be here. Mayor Baker, he know my family really well. My name is Alvin Bedford, Jane Minor, William Blunt, and my nephew over there, Kerry there. Organized this group over 60 years.
Awesome.
In prayer, pray for us. We're getting older now. We're getting sick in the bones and stuff now. Get around like we used to, but we ask that you pray along with us. We do others for you.
While I'm on this Christian journey, will you guide me? Lord, while I'm on this Christian journey, guide me. Lord, and while I'm on this Christian journey, guide me. Teach me, Lord. Oh, Lord. Lord, said when I suffered all night long. Got me, Lord, and when I suffered all night long, got me. Teach me, Lord, oh Lord, sometimes we have to cry. Lord said, when I've cried all night long, will you? Ooh, Lord, and when I've cried sometime in the midnight, got me. Lord, and when I've cried all night long, got me, Jesus. Teach me. Oh, Lord, we have to ask you so many times. Lord, teach me every day of my life. Early in the morning when I rise, at noonday, in the midnight hour, pray for my neighbor. Pray for my enemies. Pray for everybody. Go down on my knees sometime and I call Jesus. Lord, have mercy on me. Every day of my life, teach me, Lord. Lord, I want you to teach me how to watch fight. Oh, Lord. Brother Carey. Amen. Praise God. Amen. You know, sometimes we're on this journey and our Lord get heavy. But the one that can lighten it, nobody but Jesus. No matter how heavy your load are, whatever you're going through, he can lighten it. I told the Lord long that to heaven surely heard my cry, made he, Lord, said again. I told the Lord long that to heaven surely heard my cry, made me whole. He, Lord, listen, since the lightest, my Lord, always with me, never, never left me. Oh, keep running on the way, mean to watch. Heart is new, friends are few, not the same, no more. Got a new walk, a new talk. I know he lightened my load when I was down, picked me up, turned me around, placed my feet on a solid ground. Can I be a witness for you? When I was sick, I know he healed my body. When I was lost, saved my soul, took me in. Oh yeah, I got a new life. I don't talk like I used to. Got a new walk, got a new talk, a new shout. I know he did it for me through many dangerous toils and snares. He brought me every day of my life. I thank the Lord for lighting my load. Oh yeah, he done lightened my load. I feel good, I can shout, I can sing. Oh yeah, oh since he lightened.
Y'all, thank y'all so much. We look forward to having y'all back. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Is that something you sang on?
Item C, 2019-10, 2019 Arbor Day proclamation. I think Councilmember Welch's got that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is anybody here from the tree board or to accept this evening?
Janet is here.
Janet's here.
Janet Lieberman.
Oh, Janet, I'm sorry. I'm going to read it and then we'll meet out front at that point. A proclamation by the mayor of the city of Smyrna, Georgia Arbor Day. Whereas the first Arbor Day was celebrated in 1872 in Nebraska as a special day for planting trees and has grown to thousands of celebrations in the communities across our nation each year. And whereas community partners, families, and friends will be joined together at the local Arbor Day ceremonies to recognize the benefits of trees and urban forest, and whereas trees will be planted across the state, creating a lasting legacy for future generations, and whereas trees improve water quality and quantity, reduce the erosion of precious topsoil, increase property values and economic vitality in business areas, provide shade, cleanse the air, create habitat for wildlife, and add beauty to communities. And whereas trees promote outdoor recreation, which improves human health and well-being and reduces nature deficit disorder in children by encouraging more activity and connection to the natural world. And whereas all of Georgia benefits from forestry, which contributes billions of dollars annually to our state's economy and provides employment for more than 100,000 people. And whereas the city of Smyrna has been a tree city for 16 years due to the celebration of Arbor Day, now therefore I, A. Max Bacon, mayor of the city of Smyrna, Georgia, do hereby proclaim February 16, 2019 as Arbor Day in Georgia and encourage our citizens to plant trees, thus leaving a legacy for the present and future generations. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to the seal of the city of Smyrna to be official from upon this, the 4th day of February, in the year of the Lord 2019. A. Max Bacon.
Janet, if you'll come up and Corky will get a picture.
I've asked Joey to come with me.
Oh, Joey, okay.
He does the Tree City information.
Good deal.
Background smile.
I'll get out of the way.
Play 1, 2, 3.
Janet, do you want to mention Arbor Day that's coming up in sometime in February? Or
Yes.
something we're doing?
Yes, sir. We are going to be celebrating on February 16th at North Cooper Lake Park at 10 a.m. We're going to be planting 2 or 3 trees. We're going to have kids' activities. The tree board's going to be there. And we're going to hold an open house at the community garden so that plots that are available, people can come and see and sign their leases.
Good deal.
Hope to see you there.
Thank you. Is it 10 o'clock in the morning?
10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. AM. Okay. That's all we have under the mayoral report. 4 land issues, zonings, and annexation. Item A, V18-072, public hearing appeal the denial by the License and Variance Board for variance request V18-072, allow a second accessory structure for a single-family resident, land lot 535, 0.44 acres, 4115 North Cooper Lake Road. Cynthia Thomas is the applicant. We're going to have the public hearing on both A and B, and I'm going to read this out because they're both related. Item B, V18-073, public hearing appeal by the denial of the License and Variance Board for variance request V18-073 to allow side setback reduction from 10 feet to 3 feet for additional accessory structure, land lot 335, 0.44 acres at 4115 North Cooper Lake Road. Cynthia Thomas. These are both for the same issue. I'll ask that Mr. Andrews is here tonight. Mrs. Tammy Sadler-Jones, our city administrator, has had an unfortunate death in the family, and she got a sick son too. So Scott, if you get the background on that, we'll go from there.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Good night. How you doing, everyone? I'm going to combine the backgrounds here, as the mayor mentioned. The applicant is requesting a variance for a second accessory structure and to reduce the side setback for the accessory structure. The property is occupied by an existing single-family home and an accessory structure used for storage. The License and Variance Board held a public hearing for variance V18072 on December 12, 2018, and denied the request by a vote of 3-0. Ms. Thomas filed an appeal letter on December 14th to appeal the decision of the License and Variance Board.
Okay, is the applicant here? Okay, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone here that's in opposition to or that would like to make any public comment concerning the variance on either item A or B? Okay, for those that would like to make comment along with the applicant, if you'll come forward, I'll have the city attorney swear you folks in. Anybody that, even if you think you want to make a comment and you don't have to, but we'd like to get everybody sworn in at the same time. Okay, if everybody will have a seat, this is in Mr. Welch's, where's Mr. Welch? He's right here. District, okay, all right. Mr. Welch, I know you're gonna have.
I'm gonna call it Mr. Sudworth if he would come up and add anything to it that he can at this point.
Thank you all, and before I get into the variance request, because we just talked about Arbor Day, this is what happened today. I received in the mail our flag for being a Tree City USA for 16 years. So I thought that would be appropriate to let you know that. It came in this afternoon.
Awesome.
So, with regard to the variance request, Mr. Andrews has given you the summary of that. This is an appeal. It came from staff with an approval. It was heard by the License and Variance Board. As said, there was a denial of that, and then she appealed it through the proper channels, and hence we are here tonight. So with that said, we will move forward. It is at 4115 North Cooper Road. Obviously, it's in Ward 4 with Mr. Welch. We put on existing conditions and proposed conditions, not that it's changing with regard to whether it's a single-family structure or not. It has to do with a second accessory structure on the property. There's already one there, and this issue is to go ahead and permit a second one. A second one was started without a building permit. It came to our attention, it was stopped, and hence was taken through the variance process. That's pretty much what's been said here, other than there's a second part of this, which is the B part that's been read to you as a side, the reduction on the side setback from 10 feet to 3 feet. Proposed site plan is up on the screen. In relationship to everybody, you know, it's the structure that's closest to Spyglass Court is the second accessory structure. The existing structure is shown there, and there's the second structure. Just as an aerial photo, to orientate you've got North Cooper and Spyglass intersecting. This is that corner lot. This lot is not part of the new subdivision. It's been there since the 60s on that. But there was, obviously there was a lot that was purchased, and then development occurred behind this existing structure. Pictures of the subject property and of the fences. The one on the bottom was taken just to show you that the structure had been started. It was stopped. You can see it at this stage above, the 6-foot fence that's there. Just another view, looking actually back up spyglass on the top, and then showing the house to the rear of the existing property. And if you look towards the upper part of the photo, you will see the existing accessory structure there. As mentioned previously, the License and Variance Board did have their hearing on December 12th. Both requests, both A and B in your agenda tonight, were voted to deny by a 3-0 vote. There were several members spoke in opposition, and hence the applicant has submitted an appeal on that. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, Mr. Sudler? Okay.
Thank you.
We will now hear from the applicant. If the applicant will step forward. If you'll just identify yourself.
My name is Cynthia Thomas. I live at 4115 North Cooper Lake Road, Smyrna, and I'm the applicant. So the reason I didn't know, about the setback or the second structure or anything like that. I'm just trying to build a greenhouse combination chicken coop. I have 4 chickens, and I just wanted to protect them, and I just want to garden all year round, and that was my intention. I didn't know anything about the setbacks or second structure. The first structure was there. I only been there a year and a half myself, so I didn't know anything about your code ordinance or anything. So that was all. That was my intention. So.
Ms. Thomas, I want to ask a couple of questions about the structure itself, and whoever can answer it would be helpful. It's just regarding the height and so forth. The interior, the wall of the structure now, how tall is that wall?
I have a drawing for you if you want to see it.
Yes, ma'am. If you got something that shows that. It looks like you got 7 foot.
But it can be reduced. It's not. I mean, it's not like it's permanent. It's just can be reduced. And
look here just a moment.
While he's looking at that, Ms. Thomas, I have a question. Are you doing the structure yourself, or have you hired someone to come in?
I hired someone. Yes.
Okay.
So I already spent money into that.
Okay.
Structure.
And were they not aware of the variances for the city? They didn't bring. Did they not bring that to your attention?
He's not Smyrna. He doesn't live in Smyrna. He's not a resident of Smyrna, so he didn't know.
Do you have is it concrete floor or dirt floor or?
Oh no,
it's not concrete.
It's a
wooden deck.
Wooden, yes.
Wood floor.
Yes.
Okay. As far as the exterior wall finish, do you know what you're going to put on the outside of it? Is it going to be painted or?
I had planned to put just wood, plywood treated, pressure treated, but if that can be changed also to like glass or whatever.
But it'll be a painted structure when it's
No,
finished.
I'm not going to paint it because it's pressure treated wood.
Oh, okay.
No.
I see you've got a sloped roof on the, it's kind of got a nice-looking roof on it. Looks like a nice-looking building. Glass only on one side. I'm taking it on the side facing North Cooper Lake.
Yeah. So
Actually, the structure is intended to serve as greenhouse, and a part of it as for the poultry, for the chicken. And in the process, we have a sort of plastic that will actually allow some to come on the plants as a greenhouse.
Okay.
And while the chicken will just be there, just 4 chickens, and they'll be there to eat, to stay there, keep warm when it's winter, and then during the day, they roam about within the garden.
And
There's a boundary.
just for the record, will you tell us who you are?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Frank.
I'm sorry, please.
Yeah, just tell us who you are and where you live.
Yeah, Frank Ushukoya.
Okay. You live,
And I don't live in Smyrna, but I live in Mapleton.
oh, everybody can't live in Smyrna,
But I come here
He
regularly.
helps me with my
That's close
gardening.
enough.
He helps me with my gardening in my
Yeah,
yard and
okay.
maintaining everything that I need
I just want
help
to make
with.
sure we had him back on the record. since you got sworn.
Only one other question at this time, I guess, and you may indicate it on here. Let me look real quick. What type of roof are you planning to put on the building itself?
Well, I have planned to put the regular type roof, but then I thought about it, so it has to be glass so that the sun can
Also
shine
sunlight,
in.
which, will come on the plants because photosynthesis can only happen in the sunlight, not shaded area.
So
this
you're
is
looking
my-
to put
Sorry.
glass on the roof now?
Plastic. You have this plastic sold at Home Depot or some hardware.
Plastic glass,
stores.
what do you call that, plastic glass? I don't,
It's basically the greenhouse product?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Okay,
Yeah, it's a translucent,
right.
That's
Yeah.
perfect. Right.
yeah,
So it's not going to
almost
be a
like a
point.
corrugated metal, but it's a translucent fiberglass.
yeah.
Yes.
So it's not going to be an angle, it's just going to be straight across?
No, it'll like this.
It's going to be, it will be an angle. I see that, okay.
Corrugated.
Okay, I don't have any other questions at this time. I may have some as we get closer to the end of this, but
Any other questions, Mr. Fennell?
Hi, Ms. Thomas.
Hi.
You indicated that maybe the size, the height of the structure is adjustable. You're not wed to the 7-foot tall structure.
I'm not.
And you realize now that the setback rules that the city has for every citizen need to be adhered to. You didn't know that whenever you started.
No, I
But now
didn't.
that you know that, are you okay moving it a little bit
We'll move it,
to meet?
6 feet?
You have a building back there already. Was there any thought about attaching it closer to that building? Or I don't know where your garden is in that yard.
It's in the back where the structure is, that's where I want it to be. The
Okay.
garden's already there.
Just as
and-
long as it's set back off the fence accordingly to the rules would be okay with you?
Yes.
And the height is a matter that might be
Yes, it can be
adjusted?
lower, yes,
Okay, those are the questions I had. Thank you for coming before us today.
thank you.
I do have one more question. Then you said it's got a wood floor in it. How is it anchored to? You have posts in concrete, or are you on top of the ground?
No,
It's post?
It's elevated.
Yeah.
It's elevated from the ground.
So it's not in concrete. So it could possibly be moved.
It's not done that way, but if the law allows that to be done, because it's just a sort of temporary structure, of which sometimes she might decide to discontinue with that type of thing and then get a prefabricated type of a structure.
So it could or could not be moved.
It's in concrete, but it can be cut.
Because the poles, the pillars were actually made is of wood, concreted down.
But the posts are concreted
I
in,
have
is
a
what you're
photo.
saying.
Okay,
So,
that
okay.
was my question right there.
So my question is, I was wondering if, Corky, can you pass that, that drawing down? Yeah, okay, thanks.
The photo.
Yeah, please. Thank you. That's very helpful.
All right, any other questions of the applicant?
One question for you. Thank you very much for coming. I know this is a different process, I'm sure. One question for you. So is there any chance that you would attach this to the existing structure or make this part of the one existing structure?
Honestly, yes.
Okay. Is that a reasonable solution?
But I mean, it is. But this money I have already spent in that structure, and then I had to pay the contractor, and then he's going to charge me extra to take it down and attach it.
But you would have to do that to move it also, right?
Not take it completely down. I mean, if I take it completely down, like dismantle the floor.
The posts are attached, is that correct? And then there's the
ground,
flooring
yes.
in?
Right.
If they cut the post on at grade level and just moved the structure, it would move all together as one piece?
So that he can't do it that way. The
Okay.
builder, he can't do it that way. It has to be. He can cut the walls, and then the floor has to stay because there's nothing he can do with the floor.
Okay, maybe I don't understand, but.
Okay.
That's what he
All
told
right,
me.
any other questions of the applicant? All right. Y'all have a seat. Anyone that was sworn in that wants to make any testimony, please come forward and tell us who you are and where you live and any comments that you'd like to make.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. My name is Andres Sandate. I live directly behind the property, the subject property, at 400 Downfield Way. It's at the corner of Spyglass Court and Downfield Way. My name is Andres, A-N-D-R-E-S, Sandate.
Terry, start the clock. The clock. There you go. Good girl.
So the two comments I'd like to make for the public record. The first is section 1402 of the zoning variance, Article 14, which speaks to notification to all abutting homeowners regarding the intended structure. My wife and I, Heidi, have still not received that drawing that's been distributed tonight, nor does that drawing contain any height details. And so we can see that the structure is going to be taller than the fence, but we don't know. And the first time tonight is the first time we heard of Mrs. Thomas's willingness to potentially change the structure, potentially what she would do with the roof, et cetera. So as a homeowner, we're just asking for the details that we would potentially get. Appreciate that.
No, that goes to that lady right there.
The second thing I'd like to comment is at the first meeting, and I'd like to point out section 1403, the variance review standard, item number 2, the hardship. The hardship was created by Mrs. Thomas, with all due respect. So I think that was the reason why it was turned down initially, and I'm still trying to understand how the potential change in location or the structure itself in any way mollifies section 1403 sub item 2. So those are my two comments for the council tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me, can I ask him a
Yep.
question as well? I'm taking it your primary concern with it is not the distance from the property line, but the height of the building. Is that correct?
No,
and
it's
your
both.
visibility from your.
It's visible from our property, particularly from the third floor, but it's also the proximity to the fence.
Is the existing building that's out there now, can you see it from your place also?
Yes. We can see it from the bottom ground level of our property looking up, and we can see it from the third floor of our property, and you can see it from multiple locations within our neighborhood.
Are there any other questions? Thank you very much. Give it to them. Okay.
Can I ask Ms. Thomas another question? How much shorter do you think you could make this structure and still be a functioning structure?
Well, I can take it completely off the. He can take it completely off.
So we're really only looking, I mean, it looks like that one corner is only about 6 inches off the ground. So we really, we can't get very much out of it, is what you're saying, without it.
I think to start with, looking at this height, it's about 12 inches from the ground. That's the floor.
About how much?
12 inches.
Right. 12 inches?
Yeah, from the ground. And concerning the setback to the property line, the government requirement, what is there right now is 3 feet to the property line. The government's request is 10 feet. We are only appealing if we could just reduce it, get the setback, the property line to be 6 feet.
Okay.
We can concede 4 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's all for now.
Okay, thank you. Y'all can have a seat. We're going to hear from these other folks that were sworn in. Tell us who you are and where you live and comments you'd like to make.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Councilman. My name is Jim Atria, A-T-R-I-A, 417 Downfield Way. What I would like to offer to the board is that why don't this get tabled so all these documents can be passed around to all the neighbors so we know exactly what we're talking about. It seems that you gentlemen are trying to, and ladies, trying to help our neighbor, which we agree with, but to sit here and redesign this and then say, okay, but then we don't know what we're really building. So we don't have a problem with the chickens. The chickens were there when we came there. And I take my grandkids there to look at the chickens. Before the wooden fence was there, there's a chain link fence, and she had a small chicken coop, was really cute. It was fine. Now she's building a building. We can call it structure, we can call it whatever we want, but we're building a building that's going to be eventually maybe 8-9 feet high. Yes, she says she could agree to lower it, but you can't lower it lower than 6-8 because then you can't walk into it. So I think the proper, not to tell you what I would like to see it tabled, that she resubmit all her documentation so everybody here knows exactly what she wants to do, what new setbacks she's willing to meet, so we can evaluate this properly and give her the benefit of the doubt. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question. Jim, we'll take an action at the end of this hearing. This is for hearing purposes. We're trying to receive information. And as we get to that decision, I think you've made a good suggestion, and maybe that's one we can follow. But I have a question as to an outcome that may be prescribed at the end. Would you be okay with that size structure if it were just moved from a setback rule compliance standpoint? And what are some of the concerns that you would have us consider as any alteration be considered?
I think multiple buildings of that height, she already has one which is allowed by code. I don't think would be appropriate. If she wants to build a chicken coop that is 6 feet high, that's lower than the height of the fence, then I don't believe anybody in her neighborhood would object to that. But that is up to our neighborhood and our neighbors. So that's why I'm respectfully asking that she resubmit it so we can all give her the benefit of the doubt and maybe move this thing forward positively.
Jim, thank you for your comments. I'm going to ask counsel if I could. Mr. Cochran, if we vote to uphold this denial, can Ms. Thomas come back with a revised action? Is there a time frame that would be required for her to do that?
No, if it would be at least a year to do that. By state law, it'd be 6 months. If you denied it by state law, it'd be 6 months before a new application could be filed. For the state law and our city ordinances, add another 6 months to that. So for practical purposes, it'd be a year from the date of the initial application being filed. So not from today, but from the date the initial application was filed. So we'll have to see when that was. So yeah, there would be a time delay.
If I can maybe ask that differently, since there's an existing structure,
I think we were told if she adds on to that existing structure, that does not require variance. So then it'd be, so she wouldn't have to apply for another variance if she adds on to the existing structure?
Probably not. The only potential variance she would have to apply for would be if she added on to the existing structure and the combined size of the new building, the existing structure plus the add-on is more than our ordinance allows, because our ordinance specifies that a accessory structure can't be more than, I think, 25% of the
Main structure.
The main structure. So you would have to size it and see.
Would that be a new variance, or was it really under the same issue?
That would be I think it'd be I think it still would require a year. You know, there are ways you can get around that, but I think that's the textbook answer is yes, it would be, you'd have to wait the year.
The posture we stand in now is this variance request is denied, and we're considering a variance or a reconsideration of some aspect of it. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay.
I want to hear from the rest of the folks that were sworn in for this hearing. So anyone else that was sworn in, there's probably 5 or 6 people. If y'all want to make a comment, please step forward and tell us who you are. Okay, there's no one else. Mr. Webster's, ma'am? Yes, ma'am. Would you come back up here?
The gentleman, the last.
You're talking to the mic.
Oh, sorry, the last gentleman that was up here, I think his name is Jim. My chicken wasn't there before he moved in. I was there only there a year and a half, so I don't know where they're getting the information from. This is incorrect. But what matters to me is most is that I have a greenhouse that I can garden all year round. So, I mean, they're complaining about the structure, they complain about the chicken, they complain about the smell of the chicken. I just want a greenhouse so I can garden and somewhere protected from my chickens. That's all I want. So.
Excuse me, my contribution is if there's a standard chicken house and a stroke greenhouse, we are willing to comply with the existing storage, or what do you call it? Building structure. Building. If they insist, they have to go to the 3rd floor to be looking to someone's yard. I think it's out of it. There's some degree of privacy to everybody. And if he chooses to look into someone else's yard, the mistake David in the Bible made while looking over his fence into somebody else's property is sinful. He knew the repercussion. That's David in the Bible. But right now, if he just doesn't want to see anything like related to live chicken or any other related things, he could put up his fence. Yeah, or put up, I'm sorry, please. He could put up these high-rise plants that will shield off his gazing into somebody else's property. Because I don't see any form of freedom for her when she's in her yard, apart from the property. Yeah. So I'm pleading that we could have that off, maintain the status quo, the requirements of the county, attach the standard size, which was suggested 10 by 10, and then it should be 8 feet from the existing fence. Then presently we have about 20 feet at the back, then 14 feet at the side. So that structure can still accommodate the new one we're talking of. And it will be placed on concrete platforms rather than digging and then whatever other things. Because she's going through a lot. All she's doing now is just to preserve her health. And a little while she might develop BP and some other things, of which she never even make mention of. And these people will be in their house, not concerned. We don't want anything horrible happening.
I think for us, it's not so much that somebody's looking into her backyard. What we're faced with is a second accessory building, which is not allowed, and being that close to the property line. That's what we're looking at. It's not that somebody can see her building from where he lives on the third floor, fourth floor, or first floor. We're looking at the second accessory building. That's what the variance is.
Are you including the first building, that one that was there
The barn
before
that
I
was-
moved in there? I mean, I have nothing to do with that building. I was there. The owner left it there.
You're talking about the one that's in the backyard already?
Yes.
It was already there, so I don't have anything to do with that. That's,
Correct.
he just left it, the owner, the previous.
But it's still a building in your,
Can still be attached. We can have a greenhouse and a chicken shop
Right.
attached to that.
Had I known about this, I would just put it, I would have just, put it up further, I mean, closer to my home. I didn't know anything about the setback, so.
Yeah.
Y'all just taking
We can still-
consideration. I
yeah.
didn't know.
But that's when I asked the question, whomever was doing it, if they knew that, to come to the city before they started building.
For a greenhouse chicken coop? No.
Anything.
Just to come to the city to get whatever licenses or approvals that they needed. That's why I asked if that person knew that. I have a question for Mr. Cochran. If, although it's denied and we're here to either go one way or the other, if we were to approve it with, could we approve it with conditions?
Yeah, you can attach conditions.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, just to address Ms. Thomas and her friend here who, without knowledge of what the rules were, the structure was commenced, that's a violation, and that's why the denial was triggered. So that we get past that, and how do we get to what you want to make your yard usable for the way you want it? I think a solution by your partner there is very simple. Move the structure away from the current footprint to get into compliance from the setback. Still give you the opportunity to be near your garden so that it's convenient for you. The chickens aren't a problem. We all love chickens here. And if anybody up here knows me well, they know I'm the person who probably defends personal property rights more than anybody else on council. And I'm happy to try to find a way to fix this. But where it's located and the setback to comply with the rules, the denial was granted, and that's where we are. So we can find a way to help get the setback proper, be considerate of the height for the neighbors. I mean, I made the approval to build that neighborhood behind there when I was on council, when I represented that area. Say again, please. Right? Yes, I understand, and I listened to all the debate about the topography and the structures and where they would be located and all that. But the goal is just good neighbor policy whenever we have these rules in place. So we're trying to be equally good neighbors on all sides of the fence, and forcing someone to put up a fence is not, desirable. But when a structure is, outside of the bounds of what the rules prescribed were, if we find a way to fix it, that's the proper solution.
okay.
And we'd like to try to do that.
All right.
Mr. Mayor.
I don't think anybody else is, that was sworn in wanted to speak, so we'll close that.
Close public hearing?
Yes, well, he's got something he can say just for,
I guess I'm confused because I'm trying to understand, are we talking now about potentially modification, or are we talking about approval of a second structure? So I guess as the
talking about-
homeowner, my concern is I'm not walking out of here clear, and I'm hoping that I am walking out of here clear as to,
it'll
No
be clear.
decision's been made yet.
I
so
understand that.
we're-
But what the considerations are, because it sounds like we're, like my neighbor, Mr. Jim said, we never, as a budding homeowner, and if I'm reading the variance correctly, we should have received documentation. We've still, in several months, still not received that documentation. So we just don't know. I don't care about the chickens. I don't care about the greenhouse. I don't care what it's going to be used for. What I care about are my property rights and the variance and the letter of the law being followed. That's what I care about for the public record.
thank you. Anyone else during the public hearing portion? This is, all right, we'll close that. This is sort of a carryover from last meeting almost, but Mr. Welch.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Thomas, this is very unfortunate. and I think it could have all been avoided very early on if your builder had led you down the right path, and gone in to apply for a building permit and followed through with getting a building permit, going through community development. But that didn't happen. At this point, there are too many obstacles that I see to overcome. With that, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to make a motion to uphold the denial of license and various board for variance request V 18072 to allow a second accessory structure for a single-family residence, land on lot 335.44 acres, 4115 North Cooper Lake Road, owned by Miss Cynthia Thomas.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Welch to deny, seconded by Mr. Norton. Discussion. All right, all those in favor of the motion to deny, please. Or motion to deny is approved 6-1 with Ms. Blackburn voting in the negative. Item B, V18-073.
Very similar to item A. I'm going to make a motion to uphold the denial of license and various board for the variance request V 18073 to allow a side setback reduction from 10 foot to 3 foot for additional accessory structure. Land lot 335.44 acres, 4115 North Cooper Road, owned by Miss Cynthia Thomas.
I have a motion and a second by Mr. Norton. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion? It's about 7-0 to deny. So that ends the hearing. By the council, we voted to deny both variances. Item 5 is privilege licenses. Yes, ma'am.
So you're saying that I cannot build it anywhere in my backyard?
You can't, we've denied the second structure. That's the first denial.
Mm-hmm.
And we denied the second setback reduction from 10 feet to 3 feet. So, no, you cannot build it. I think pretty much.
You have an opportunity to apply again. It will be a 1-year delay in order to apply again, but you have to comply with those rules as I understand it at that time. And as the gentleman who is a neighbor indicated, there are certain notifications and detailed requirements that have to be shared with your contiguous neighbors and ideally the
Well,
neighborhood.
I did everything initially that I was asked to do, sending out certification letters, and I did
There's a
that.
timeline in the process and a time when all that has to be done. And you can work with community develop to make sure for your future endeavor that you comply with the rules ahead of time so you don't run into this challenge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
Thanks so much. Please, my contribution is because something related to the fence.
I can't.
About the fence, which was constructed, the fence constructed. We are looking at a situation whereby the fence was not constructed on the property line. If in the next future we want to construct our own fence, she wants to construct her own fence, there's room of having an open space between the existing fence and her own fence, which might probably create some sort of problems. The type of problem I'm talking about, somebody might hide there overnight, and which we don't actually pray that something happens. Because you'll be having about 6 feet wide from their own fence to our own property line.
Can you see Ken
I'm not-
Sudreth there for those details? He
Yeah, if
could
you-
answer those questions for you.
Yeah.
We apologize, but the community development team is immediately to your right. We encourage you to please work with them in
Thank
the
you.
next days.
Item 5 is privilege licenses. We have none. Item 6 is formal business. A 2019-34, approval toward RFP 19-014 to the fourth lowest and only bidder to meet all specifications of the RFP to Lockstep Technology Group, 4550 River Green Parkway, Suite 120, Duluth, Georgia 30096, for the replacement of the city's storage area network for the amount of $202,44, which is within the approved CIP budgeted amount, to authorize the mayor to sign any related documents. Mr. Andrews, a background, please.
The city utilizes a storage area network comprised of 6 individual units purchased over time. The responses from the RFP evaluated by comparing initial cost, the total cost over 5 years, and the ability to meet RFP requirements. Only one response met all the requirements of the RFP, which was Lockstep Technology Group.
Mr. Ron Fennell.
Mr. Mayor, our staff has evaluated, submitted a bid proposal out there. We had 7 respondents, 1 that was fully compliant with the request in the RFP. I hereby move to approve 2019-34, approval of the award RFP 19-014.
A motion, second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion? It's approved 7-0. Item B, 2019-35, approval of the IT policy manual and adopted as an official city policy. Mr. Andrews, the background, please.
Yes, sir. The IT director, with the help of the IT team, has developed a comprehensive IT policy manual, and the IT department has been following these policies without formal adoption. So basically, Mayor, we're just formalizing a 40-page document tonight, and this does complement the current HR policies.
Mr. Ron Fennell, who chairs the Finance and Administration. Mr. Fennell.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the IT policy manual and adopt it as official city policy 2019-35.
Motion is second by Mr. Welch. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion? Six to nothing. Who has not voted? Ms. Wilkinson?
No, I voted. I don't know why my name's not there, but I voted. I voted yes. I did.
All right, that's approved 7-0. Item C, 2019-38, approval of Ward 6 appointment to the Planning and Zoning Board, Michael C. Graves, to fulfill a term to expire December 2019. I'll send that over straight to Mr. Tim Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Unfortunately, this appointment only became necessary recently with the recent passing of a valued community member and Ward 6 representative to the P&Z board, Mr. Denny Campo. Denny was a dedicated and thoughtful member of the board who happily played a role in keeping Smyrna a great place to live. Denny will be missed. He was a good guy. Mr. Mike Seagraves has graciously volunteered to fill the role. He'll have some large shoes to fill. Mike served on the P&Z in the past. He's familiar with the responsibility and is ready to fill the remainder of Denny's term through 2019. With that, Mr. Mayor, I move to appoint Mike Seagraves to the Ward 6 seat on the Planning and Zoning Board.
A motion is second to appoint Michael Seagraves to fulfill the term that expires December 2019. All those in favor of the motion? Approved 7-0. Commercial building permits, we don't have any. Consent agenda. Mr. Andrews, will you please read the consent agenda for
Yes, sir. Item A, 2019-29, approval of the January 22nd, 2019 Mayor and Council meeting minutes. Item B, 2019-32, approval of the January 22nd, 2019 pre-council meeting minutes. And item C, 2019-27, approval of the January 17, 2019 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes.
Real easy to approve. Motion is second. All those in favor of the motion? Where did I get this? It's approved 7-0. Before we go into committee reports, I do want, Eric Allen just came in, probably been 45 minutes ago. I just wanted to recognize you for, you're not part of the Boy Scouts being punished for getting a citizen back. Committee reports, we'll start with Mr. Derek Norton.
No report this evening. Thank you, sir.
Ms. Bluestein.
No report this evening, sir.
Ms. Blackburn.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would like to send my condolences out to the family of Miss Mary Lou Jones Tuck, who is an incredible Smyrna resident who I had the awesome opportunity of being her neighbor, and she worked throughout the city of Smyrna. So I again send my condolences to the family for her passing. Also want to recognize some very special people that are here tonight. Pastor Waller, who's with King's Chapel. Thank you for being here. Pastor Morrison, who's with the Shaw Temple AME. I think he left already. Just want to say thank you all for being here. And of course, our representative, Mr. Eric Allen, it's always good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Had an opportunity to spend some time with him down at under the Gold Dome last week, so that was real special. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. We also have some wonderful new hires that I like to always say welcome to the family. Therese Hall, Darren Tenney, Kobe Dunn, Demetrius Harris, and Christy Pettis. Again, welcome to the family. And with that, I yield.
Corky Welch.
Just a very quick reminder for everybody on February the 16th, come out to North Cooper Lake Park for Arbor Day celebration at 10 o'clock. And get you a space to plant a garden if you want one. So everybody come out, 10 o'clock.
Ms. Susan Wilkerson.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to let everyone know about an event that's happening at the library this month in honor of Black History Month. In celebration, the library is hosting a lecture on Sunday, February 10th, about Tunis Campbell. Mr. Campbell was the highest ranking and most influential African-American politician in the 19th century of Georgia. He worked as an abolitionist, often sharing a stage with Frederick Douglass. The lecture is at 3 p.m. in the library meeting room, and that's on Sunday, February 10th. Thank you. With that, I yield.
Mr. Tim Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to mention that the Campbell IB Program Booster Club recently raised $100,000, over $100,000 this year. That's for the IB program, and a lot of those funds go to serve the Campbell High School as a whole. So it takes a lot of work from parents and staff to make that happen, and obviously a lot of folks to be willing to donate their time and funds. So thank you very much to the IB Booster Club to making that happen. With that, Mr. Mayor, I yield.
Mr. Ron Fennell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Finance Committee met on January 31st. Among the items we discussed were the investment policy for the city of Smyrna, credit card policy for the city, vendor rates, and some upcoming renewals that will need some evaluation before the renewal, and we discussed some options. And then the FY 2020 budget that we're putting together now. There's a hearing. Any of you who've been to the city website can review the proposed budget in some detail as much as you want. I don't know how NODOS works for you, or if not, there is a detailed valued package that you can review about how we spend your money. We are proud of the very open and transparent nature of how we put our finances together and how we manage them on your behalf, and I welcome you to take an opportunity. We have another of the public hearings for input scheduled this year for February 11th, 6:30 to 8 p.m. at the Smyrna Community Center. FY 2020 budget, you can go online, look at the details, and bring any of your questions, comments, or suggestions to us at that point as we go through this process. Additionally, I have two items I want to recognize the Smyrna Police Department for. There were some promotions and recognitions recently that we're very proud of, too numerous to mention specifically. But I wanted to note that over Super Bowl weekend, they participated with several other agencies in the metro for a sting that captured some people who are accused of sex trafficking, drug sales, et cetera, and prostitution. So you have a great police department in conjunction with the other area agencies. We're grateful for the fine team that we have out there that continues to do great work in protecting our citizens here in the city. Finally, a longtime friend of mine, some 30 years, recently retired as the director of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. Vernon Keenan has earned his retirement, and Governor Kemp, having just freshly stepped into that role, has named a Cobb County in to fill that job. Vic Reynolds, our district attorney, will become the new GBI director very shortly. So we're very proud of all those folks involved. Please continue to support your public safety at every level. It's important to our families and our communities. Mr. Mayor, I yield.
Mr. Scott Andrews.
Just want to send our thoughts and well wishes to a couple key staff that have lost family members. Our city minister, Tammy Sadler-Jones, our library director, Mary Moore, and our public works director, Frank Martin.
Mr. Cochran, you have anything?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Graham? We do not have a show cause hearing. Got two folks signed up for citizens input. Pastor Leela Waller, 2600 Davenport Street, King Chapel AMC Church, Black History. It's our topic.
Good evening to Mayor Baker and to the Smyrna City Council. It's a pleasure to come before you on tonight. I am the pastor of King Chapel AME Church over in the Rose Garden area, which been there 78 years. So we praise God for the Black history for that community. A couple of months ago, I attended a very wonderful event that you all sponsored with the religious affairs. I thought it was wonderful to be able to see the diversity of the religious community here in Smyrna. I stand before you tonight while appreciating what you did tonight for the Black history, appreciating the lectures that would come before the library for Black history, but I stand in support tonight of the Black Heritage Celebration that will be taking place on February the 23rd. I know that it was not voted and passed, but this is a city of diversity, and I look forward to the unity and showing the diversity of each heritage. I think Dr. King said, as we learn from one another, we all different, but as we learn from one another, we become more a family. So in the future, I pray that you would look at the unity and how the city council can come together and the city can come together as we learn each other's heritage. So I thank you tonight. I just want to put on record that I am in support of the Black Heritage Celebration that will be taking place on February the 23rd here in the city of Smyrna. And I look forward to the other Heritage Unity celebration that come forth. I also want to put on record that I am the chair committee person for the religious affairs for the Cobb NAACP as well. So I just wanted to come tonight before you. May God bless you.
Shaki Shaw?
Charles.
That's pretty close.
Yeah, that's the
Feel about
position
750.
signature I have.
Yes, it's a nice signature. I just can't. Her topic is Black history also.
Yes. First of all, I want to thank Mayor Bacon for allowing me to speak and City Council members. I am in support of unity in the community. And I wrote something down, and I'd like to talk to you guys about this. I believe it's important to embrace and celebrate the diversity of our community. Smyrna has done a phenomenal job, and I really appreciate everything that you're doing. But the diversity in our communities and the culture that makes up that diversity Therefore, I, along with the members of the Smyrna community, have come together to present several Smyrna heritage celebrations titled Unity in the Community. So we're going to kick off the event, and we would like to celebrate and invite city council members and the community. And I have something I'd like to hand out so you can give the council members, please. So we'll kick this off on February 23rd at 12 p.m., from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Smyrna City Council. We're going to have fun. We're going to educate. And again, I want to thank you for allowing me to speak. And again, I'm so proud of Smyrna, and thank you for allowing me at the podium.
Boy Scouts, y'all have stayed all night long, so it's past y'all's bedtime. No other business brought for this body. I declare this meeting adjourned at 8:16. Here you go, Jerry. Are you going back upstairs? Hey, George. How you doing? You all right? Getting old, man. Getting old. I'm whipped.